Welcome to another Mobycon Academy Spotlight session where we shine the light on the unseen heroes of the Dutch transportation system. And today we're going to talk about continuous sidewalks, which sounds very boring, but I promise you it's not. I'm once again joined by my colleague Matt Pinder, who is here in our Delft office.
Hi, Lennart.
Hi, to discuss continuous sidewalks. That sounds boring. The three questions. Let's roll. What is it? Do we need it? Can we have it? Let's start with the first one. What is it? We have one on the screen. What do you see as a Canadian?
I see what looks like a street with a sidewalk and a bike path and a road next to it. And in the background is an intersecting street. But what is broken is the street itself. What is continuous is the sidewalk and the bike path. Yeah. That is the essence of a continuous sidewalk. Visiting the Netherlands after having not been here for a while, I think I forgot how universal this treatment is. In Canada and the US, we'll talk about this soon. It's new and experimental, but this is just everywhere here. It is so subtle, you don't notice it. You cross a road without noticing it. Yeah. And I think that's the beauty of the design.
This is a true unseen hero of the transport system.
One of the most unseen true heroes.
I think one of the key aspects is the hierarchy of roads is so immediately obvious when you look at this image. Like you couldn't, even if you've never driven, you've never cycled before, you see, oh, this is the main road, this is the side street, this is where you cross, and you kind of see who has to give way, right? It's you don't even have to know the rules to know that you have to give way. Also, there's not a lot of signage, right? There's no yield markings necessarily. This whole thing, just through engineering, has done enough that it doesn't warrant a yield sign. Not everywhere. Sometimes they add it for clarity, but it's not really necessary. But it is a little bit of a legal trick because at a normal intersection, if this would not be a continuous, well, I say normal, a North American style intersection, if it wasn't a continuous sidewalk, the car would not have to yield to pedestrians crossing the side street. But in this design, implies that it is a driveway. So we call this the driveway configuration, continuous sidewalk business. I think one other aspect to point out is the blocks at the entry. They're fairly steep, right? Which is great because steep means slow.
Yes. I'm sure as a driver, it feels like you are mounting the sidewalk, which is a very uncomfortable thing to do. And that is by design. You want to be making drivers uncomfortable when they are about to conflict with users.
Exactly. They enter the pedestrian space. It's not the pedestrian crossing the roadway. It's the car crossing the footpath, which immediately feels like, ooh, I should probably watch out here. Yeah. They're great features. They're, like you said, everywhere along all the arterials. Not so much if you have two residential streets crossing, then you don't really need it. It's just give way to the right. But once you have an arterial on one of the streets, this is stock standard, not even noticeable. Great. Second question: do we need it? Is this something we need in North America or in the international context?
Well, I think you've got some good safety data behind these, so I would say absolutely. We know that intersections are one of the most likely points for people to be hit by cars, and where serious injuries and fatalities occur. We know this is a problem. We'll see in a second that we're taking some measures to improve it. But what do the numbers say, Lennart?
Yeah, so research done on these particular treatments shows that it's a 54% reduction in bicycle versus car crashes and a 40% reduction in pedestrian versus car crashes. So that is huge, right? For such a simple thing. It doesn't require any signs or lights or maintenance necessarily. It's just changing your design standard immediately gets you that kind of safety benefit. That's massive.
So purely from a safety perspective, I can say we need this.
Yeah, because what does it look like now? A fairly typical collector meets residential street, I guess.
Yeah, this is an example I picked from my neighborhood, actually. It's about a 3,000 vehicle a day main street intersecting maybe 300 vehicles a day side street. Not a high volume intersection by any means, but The experience of a pedestrian crossing the street here is exactly how I said. You are crossing the street. There are no markings that identify your presence. The radii are quite large. It is very possible for a passenger car driver to turn this corner really fast. And it doesn't happen often, but it does. And as an adult male, I'm comfortable in this situation. It's fine. But as a child, I would be concerned for my own child in this situation. And it shouldn't be. This is a quiet residential intersection.
This is a living space. This is not a movement space.
Yes.
Right? This is, And as you said, as a pedestrian, you're really stepping into the world of the cars instead of the cars coming into the world of the pedestrian, right? It's a very clear, like, this is not your space. You don't belong here. You better cross as fast as you can because this feels dangerous.
Yes.
And I think, as you said, there's nothing physically stopping cars from driving 50 kilometers an hour here. You probably could take that corner quite smoothly. Also because there's no build-outs, right? There's no curb build-outs. So you have the full turning radius and the width of the street, including probably 2 parking lanes either side. So it's a long distance to cross, which means more exposure, right? The more time you spend being exposed to cars is the higher the chance of getting hit. All right, so we need it. Easy. Can we have it? There have been attempts. This is not necessarily a new thing, right? The crossing at the side street is a theme that's been going on in the planning and design world for a while. And some of the earlier attempts, like this one, show a raised crosswalk. Fairly basic, does some of the things I think that the continuous sidewalk does.
Yeah, we can see they've tried to shorten the crossing distance by narrowing the design. Yeah. They've raised the crosswalk, so now you have pedestrians staying at a constant height. Cars are slowed down by the speed hump. The sign is there to tell you that it is a raised crosswalk, but it's not quite continuous.
No.
This is, I think, a step in the right direction.
Yeah. Doesn't look as nice, if you ask me.
Yeah.
And it still feels like, as a pedestrian, I'm stepping into the world of the cars, right?
This is an area I need to have heightened awareness, and I need to be looking left and looking right. And again, children don't have that kind of ability. No. They want to play, they want to run. Yeah. This is not thinking about them.
This is a still hold on to your child situation.
Yes, hold on to your...
Yeah. It's great for accessibility, though, right? For wheelchair users, people with prams, it is much better, much improved over the previous one, but not quite there yet. What's the state of play at the moment? Is it getting better? Are we going in the right direction with this?
Yes, we very much are. I'm happy to say there are projects that are popping up all over Canada and the US where we could confidently call them continuous sidewalks. They hit all the right measures. This one is in British Columbia, Canada, in the city of Nanaimo. And you can see all of those features present. The surface of the sidewalk is exactly the same at the crossing. The surface of the bike path is exactly the same. And it very much looks like, as a driver turning onto the street, you are turning over the sidewalk. Everything is raised, same level. Cars are going up and over. And this has been, this particular project has received awards. It's been highly regarded, and I think it's opening the door for a lot of other municipalities to try.
It is great to have one of those examples that's just almost perfect. I would say the only thing I would have to comment about this is that the ramp might still be a little bit shallow, so cars can still have a little bit more speed than we would like them to have in the Dutch context anyway. But otherwise, it is, like you said, it is spot on. It has all the right features, and I think as a driver, like, I haven't driven there myself, but you would feel like you're doing something that's, you're a guest, right? You're exiting your car space and you're entering the pedestrian and cyclist space. So that's definitely a great design, and I love seeing this kind of stuff popping up. And like you said, if this wins awards, other cities will be like, "Ooh, we want something like that," and it really opens the doors and hopefully sets a new standard for continuous sidewalk treatments across North America, because it's going to save tons of lives and make the pedestrian experience a lot nicer, right? Because we're only talking about objective safety, but the subjective safety here is also very important, and feeling appreciated and like having your space and not
having a nice constantly low stress level as you're walking down this wonderful residential street.
Perfect. All right, great news. We're going in the right direction. Thanks for joining us on this Mobycon Academy Spotlight sessions. And we'll hope that you join us again next time when we look at another one of the unseen heroes of the Dutch transportation system.